Hello and welcome to my update of my top fives in each role. Let's make sure this is recording. It is. The audio's working. So every 6 months or so, I update my top fives in each role. I allow worlds and MSI to escape my brain for the most part to try and fully take in what's happened over the last 6 months to try and form a top five. I have listed here all the players that when I look at the rosters from summer and say to myself, okay, these are the players that I think I can start with this and whittle my way down. Obviously, some of these players are not compared to others. Straight up, I think a lot of these players are not as good as the best. But at the same time, we're going to start and work our way. Down here, I have who my top fives were for the last 3 iterations of this. So you're going to notice when I go over this that my last 3 iterations, a lot of the players remain the same. And it's because, in my opinion, it takes more than just a patch at Worlds, a split. And in some cases, if a player's been good for 5 years and all of a sudden just shits the bed for a year, I'm not going to drop them significantly for one bad year if I know for 5 years they were really good and this past year their team sucked or something of the sort occurred that kind of just made me be like, I'm going to ignore that and just let's see if they can recover. I feel like a lot of people, they immediately make their tier lists after Worlds and things like that, and they're living off the hype of that, and that's probably for clicks and bait and impressions and things like that, but that's not what I'm about in that regard. But nevertheless, we're going to get started with this. We're going to start with top lane first. So in May of 2022, my top 5 was Bin, Zeus, Keen, Flandre, Rascal. So Flandre now on JDG. And then in December of 22, so no, that was May 22, December of 22, it went Bin, Zeus, 369, Rascal, Shanji. Then in May, 369, Bin, Zeus, Keen, Zeka. So you're going to notice a lot of those players remain the same. I mean, Keen was on there before, and then we got 369, Bin, Zeus. So what's going to happen? Well, I think it's pretty clear what's going to end up happening, but let's work through this. So I have the Chinese players in red, LPL players in red, LCK in black, LEC in this greenish blue color, and then in brown, poop brown, I have LCS. So, the players that I definitely know I do not have my top 5 are obviously BB and Photon. Dudu, he had a great year, another great year. He's going to be on this list if he gets on a decent team and he gets freed up and can do what he wants to do. Dudu is just as good as Shanji, Zika, those younger top laners. Kingen, no. Rascal, you entered your face off so many times this year with DRX. You could not carry. No. Breathe is off this list. I think Breathe is very good. I thought that JDG should have went with Breathe over Sheer, but now that they have Flandre to go with Sheer, I mean, it is what it is. The Shy stays, Shanji stays, Zika stays, 369 stays, YSKM goes, and Ale go. YSKM, like Dudu, will be on this list in time. YSKM is one of the best players in his age group, for sure. He had health issues this past year because he was trying too hard. And frankly, that's what did him in. So now we're down to the final 8. And I think all 8 of these players are super freaking good. For, whatever reason. So I'm trying to work. I'm going to go 5-1, but I'm also thinking to myself what my top, few are here. And I could argue that I have my top 5. So I'm going to start with number 5. Number 5 is going to be Doran. Doran is, Doran showcased the ability to play anything this past year with Gen G. Now, at Worlds, did he struggle? Sure. He struggled at times. But at the same time, He showed an aspect to his game that we haven't seen in quite a while. He went from weak side king to being able to carry at times, and that was something huge. So Doran is 5th for me. Next, I have Zika, 4th. I think Zika also has shown over the year a lot of growth with LNG, Tarzan helping him with that. But oftentimes you have to say to yourself, he's on an island and he's making things happen. He's getting ahead in his matchup. Is he as good as like other players maybe still left on here that I'm going to put above him? I think there's a little drop off, but Zika has the potential to match that because he is very young, he's still developing, and is super good. So 3rd, I have Bin. 2nd, I have 369. So Bin. So carry oriented. He tried to play some facilitators after getting called out by 369 at spring, in spring, sorry, and MSI. But we never really saw enough of that. And BLG kind of had him with his hands tied behind his back when it came to that because they were best served with him on carries and Yagao on the facilitators and more of a pseudo weak side, if you will, but he's playing mid lane. Now, 369, if it wasn't for that Rumble game, nobody's even thinking about 369 being off of JDG, but they gave him the boot. He's off. He's now on Top Esports. 369 is one of the best top laners in the world. He can play everything but Rumble, apparently. And even then, there's nothing saying that he can't just play Rumble and solo queue to get better at it. That was just his first game playing it, and it came at a really important time. Otherwise, I mean, hell, I've had him 1st, 3rd in the last 2 top 5s. I think 369 is excellent. And then 1st, I have Zeus. It's hard to ignore Zeus's performance at Worlds, but also Zeus looked good in summer after Faker came back, and you could say, oh, well, Faker helped, Faker micromanaged him, and it's entirely possible. You can take that into account. I still think Zeus is gapping top laners in the LCK. He's gapping top laners at Worlds, and he has been good for some time, hence being second, and 3rd. I have Zeus 1st now. I think he's fantastic. He's super young and still just excellent in the top lane role. So that's who I have in the top 5 in top lane. Jungle. So the last 3 years I had in May 22 it was Canyon, SFM, Tarzan, Owner, Kanavi. Last year in December, Canyon, Kanavi, Tien, Owner, Tarzan. And then in May, Kanavi, Canyon, Tarzan, JJ, Owner. So you're going to see that in these top 5s, 4 players remain the same. Kanavi, Canyon, Tarzan, Owner. The 5th one being different with JJ, Tien, and SFM. Now, they weren't 5th in the rankings, but they were 4 of the same. I think very highly of these junglers. I really do. A lot of people are going to say, oh, well, look at what Tarzan does in big moments. He chokes. It's like, you aren't going to find many moments where Tarzan was in a position where he was the favorite going in to actually choke under pressure. Most of the time, his teams are not the expected winner. Into JDG, they weren't expected to win. You can say, oh, well, Griffin 2019, it's like, yeah, when he was 18 years old, he did that. Okay, 20 years old, whatever. But outside of that, Tarzan, I think, is excellent. He's the reason why LNG got there. We'll talk about him as we break this down here. So we got plenty of junglers. Let's start with getting rid of Blabber and River, because they obviously are not at that level, but they're good, so I put them on the list. So in the jungle, Elyoya, he played like crap. I guess I could have put Inspired on this list, but I forgot to. Razork, we'll take him off the list. I think Razork is very good, but at the same time, I think Yike is better. Yike still was a rookie, even though he's 22 years old. I believe that Yike is going to get better and surpass Razork. Junglers, Beshwan out. Beshwan, you inted your face off at times Wei is out. I think he's extremely one-dimensional. Very facilitator-oriented. That's not to say he's bad. That just means he's facilitator-oriented. Very, very clearly a player that I can't rely on doing the opposite. I can't rely on it. So that's why I'm doing that. Speaking of that, TN facilitator oriented. Wei also facilitator oriented. I do not expect you to carry. JJ also not expecting you to carry. EDG was a tire fire, not necessarily your fault, but it is what it is. Yike and Yankos now can come off because, I mean, let's be real, they don't compare to these guys. Zhao Hao is on this list. I think Zhao Hao is one of the most underrated players in LOL Esports. Anyone's Legend, let him go. They just brought in a couple players, but that'll be in a roundup in the future when we can get enough news to make a roundup. And he should go back to Anyone's Legend, which is weird to say because there are good players there now. And if there are good players there, that means that he has the potential to actually showcase his ability and people actually pay attention, because people don't watch Anyone's Legends game but then make comments about the players on the team because they're inbred, and I don't understand why a person would make a comment about a player if they don't watch all their games. So, just throwing shade at the people that talk shit about players but don't actually watch them play. Zhao Hao, out. So we got 6 players here. Now, you're going to notice here, there are 6 players here, and 4 of them are the players that keep appearing on this list. So you're going to say to yourself, is he really going to do that? And I'm going to tell you, I'm really tempted to do it. Now, for the same reason I put Doran up there, I could put Peanut up here, because Peanut showed carry-oriented aspects to his game that we haven't seen in a very long time with Gen G when Chovy took a facilitator role throughout the year. You can make the case for Shun for the opposite, being very carry-oriented, but then later on in the year and at Worlds showing a facilitator-oriented mindset. His J4 series obviously sticking out. Although I do try and eliminate Worlds thoughts, that is something that is still in my mind. Now, the other 4, I think, do really well. But, I'm taking into account something here, and it's going to cause me to do something that I haven't done the last 3 times I did this. So, 5th is going to be Peanut. So Peanut is 5th. I liked what I saw out of him at times. Not at times, I keep saying that, but Peanut's played well for years. And alongside Doran, showcased an ability to facilitate. Sorry. Doran showed the ability to carry. Peanut showed the ability to carry. We saw some games where he actually took the bull by the horns and actually brought that team across the finish line because they put Chovy on facilitators, which is an aspect that I thought Gen G would show better at Worlds, and it just didn't happen. That is what it is. Peanut, though, making a lot of things happen for that Gen G team, and he deserves a lot of credit for it, which puts him above a player on this list that I don't have. 4th, I have Shun. So, Shun, super good. Super good player. Definitely took a massive step this past year. I mean, a massive step in his development with BLG alongside Yagao. Now, Yagao provided him that opportunity because Yagao is a facilitator-oriented mid, low-resource mid. So, when you have Shun, who's high-resource at his best, it's going to help. Now, like I said, the J4 series kind of offsets that. But over an entire split, we'll see if he can continue to do that when they possibly pair him with Knight, which is the rumor with BLG, and that makes that it's like the JDG situation last year, except you don't have 369 that's willing to fall on the sword. Like, somebody has to be the sacrificial lamb on that supposed BLG roster, and I think that will showcase to me whether Shun goes higher or not. Third, I have Tarzan, because Tarzan, despite that one little blip, Tarzan is... Hell, he was an MVP candidate in spring. I thought he was an MVP candidate in summer. I thought he played very well for what you could say was, 90 games this year? And then you take 10 games and you say, oh, well, he played like crap. Sorry, that's 10% of the game. So that should only factor in 10% of the time to me. And then I look back at the last 3 times I've done this, and clearly I've thought very highly of Tarzan, right? And I don't really need to look at this. I'm just showcasing to you that Tarzan's been good for a long fucking time. So for Worlds to be the backbreaker on that, no, I can't believe that he is unemployed. It's going to be a damn shame. And there are going to be teams that take a step back because they do not have, like, LNG without Tarzan is not going to be as good as LNG with Tarzan. I'm just going to say that right now. There aren't many junglers that are available that are above him, right? No. Neither one that are going to be above him are, there. So, second, Canyon. I don't care. Canyon can play literally anything. D+ was a tire fire. Swapping coaches, swapping supports, not having a shot caller, which is a problem and something that I will mentally dock from Canyon to keep him from first place. But at the same time, he's one of the best junglers ever and continues to be that good. Now Gen G alongside Keen and Chovy, he is around the best players he's ever been around, and he's a world champion. So for that to be the case is a big deal. First place is going to be Kanavi. I don't hide the fact that I think Kanavi is disgusting in terms of his play. His champion pool is one of the most wide open champion pools in LOL Esports. He can play facilitator, he can play carry, he can play out of the box and surprise you at times. He is the best jungler in the world. Now, he doesn't win. This happened, that happens. He choked, you got paid off by whatever. Like, that sort of stuff is just so stupid. And just like, you get people that say you have problems with people that disagree with you and things like that. And it's like, you can disagree about players, but when you bring in conspiracy theories and stuff like that, it's like, really? Is this where we're going with this? Is this the hill you're going to die on, is a conspiracy theory? Like, and people are like, oh, well, it's a troll. It's like, well, and don't even try and, like, stupid. This is stupid behavior. So, Kanavi first, but I have it like that right now. And I think, it's a damn shame Tarzan doesn't have a team. It really is. It really, really is. So, mid lane. Last 3 times doing this. Chovy, Knight, Showmaker, Scout, Xiaohu. Chovy, Knight, Rookie, Zeka, Showmaker. Knight, Chovy, Scout, Rookie, Shanks. So, Knight and Chovy have appeared on every one. Scout twice. Showmaker twice. So it's clear to me that the two players are going to still be on here. But there is something that I really do have to think about. But a lot of I'm trying not to get Worlds involved, and I think that kind of shows a little bit of how I'm trying not to approach this mid lane ranking, but we'll get through it together. So, in terms of who's off of this list, well, let's get rid of all the Western players. So, JoJo, Perks, Vethio, Larson, Caps, Humanoid, all gone. Vethio was on this list, and people are going to say, why is Vethio on the list? Why is Larson, Humanoid? They're excellent laners, and Humanoid at international events stands up in laning phase. You cannot deny that. The numbers speak for themselves. Vethio is one of the best carry-oriented mids in LOL Esports. He's definitely the best carry-oriented mid in the West, but we don't see him at international events enough, so that is what it is. To actually see how he stacks up when he's against another carry-oriented mid, So we just kind of like get hyperbolic and project thoughts. Now, in terms of LCK, Closer and Bulldog are out. Bulldog will be top 5 one day. He has the it factor. He really does. Bulldog's going to be great. Closer is out, but Closer is one of the best laners as well, similar to the Vethio situation. BDD played fabulous this year. MVP candidate in the LCK, and that in and of itself should make you appear on this list. But there are better facilitator-oriented mids. Like, he was the 4th best one at Worlds. He's the 4th best one when I really think about it overall. So, I mean, I'm not going to put 4 facilitator-oriented mids up here when I'm trying to determine who my best 5 are. So BDD is out. Zeka is out because Zeka proved to be a one-trick pony. UCal is out. UCal, great laner, not standing up to time. Shanks took a step back in summer, in my opinion. Do I still think he's very good? Yes, but he took a step back. Cream is just like Zeka. If Cream had played on DRX at Worlds 2022, they would win as well. Cream is Zeka in an LPL jersey. Then we've got Yagao. Yagao is out. Obviously, if you follow the channel, I don't think very highly of Yagao. Not to say that Yagao is okay. Yagao is not very good in the laning phase. Very low resource, does well with the low resources, but he ain't my top 5. So, Knight, Scout, Rookie, Xiaohu, Showmaker, Chovy, Faker. Showmaker is out. So I have 6 on here. Now I have to get one out, which is the tough part here. I think I know who has to go. So, Yeah, I do. So, 5th is going to be Xiaohu. Xiaohu showcased a great ability to be a facilitator on Weibo this past year. One of the best facilitators of all time. Was able to get to finals. I'm not trying to factor that in, but he did very well in the playoffs, regional finals. Did well during the regular season. In the end, couldn't get it done, but at the same time, Xiaohu has been one of the best in the world for some time. Like I have him 5th over here. Back in May of 22, coming off of his MSI victory. So, Xiaohu just, like, come on. One of the, like, the mind is there. Like, I guess he doesn't even really communicate all that much, but knows where to be at the right time, does solid in lane, and finds ways to carry and do what he has to do. So, Xiaohu is 5th. Fourth is Knight. And this is a big drop from, by my standards, oh, why did I do it in black? Big drop for my standards. Because, usually, like I said, I don't drop players like a rock in these because one, meta does not affect things. But I'm going to say this. In my top 5s, I have some bias. I won't lie. I think that in a top 5 like this, I use eye test. There's no stats on this board, right? I referenced some stats, but eye test is part of it. And I believe the eye test, it has bias, 100%. A lot of people want to pretend that their eye tests do not have bias or they can separate the bias, but truly, I don't think that that's possible. I think you have preferences. When you use your eyes will deceive you and make you see things that maybe aren't. I mean, it will help you ignore things that maybe you don't really want to see or acknowledge, and also may blow things out of proportion because you just like a player. So with that in mind, I will be upfront about that. So that's why you often see me use stats, because I think the eye test has bias and has more opinion behind it than we like to acknowledge. So Knight is 4th because the Azir shit at Worlds. And I'm going to say, Worlds is not supposed to affect this that much. But the fact of the matter is, he is not coachable if if those rumors are true. That Home told him to play Azir, to practice Azir, because they need Azir at Worlds, and he chose not to. Now, some people are going to say he didn't need Azir. This argument's happened in the Discord a few times, actually, countless times since it's come out. And the fact of the matter is, you are literally inting your team by not doing what you're like your responsibility. Like, whether or not we think he needs it is different than offering it as an option. Offering it as something that the other team has to prepare for, waste time preparing for. Because Knight does not play Azir at all, really. He's played it like 13 times over his entire career and didn't at all this year. Teams don't have to ban it. That's an opportunity that you've lost. And it's just not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not a matter of, it's not like 369 Rumble, right? So 369 Rumble, he sucked. But I'm going to assume that he played it in solo queue. I didn't hear that he didn't, right? Where Knight was told to play Azir and then just didn't play Azir and screwed his team. So you cannot have that mindset. I believe that's a losing mentality. I really do. I think that if you're not going to practice what you're weak at, you're never going to win. Like, that is literally not a mindset or a mentality that winners have, in my personal opinion. So Knight is 4th, and until he starts playing Azir, I'm not going to put him near the top, 1st, 2nd, whatever, depending on how things pan out. This is going to be something that's going to stick with me for the entirety of his career until he does what he has to do as a teammate, as a player, as a professional, to be quite honest with you. So, 3rd is Faker. Do I want... Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Yeah, we're gonna do Faker 3rd. These 3. I think could do any order. And the fact of the matter is, clutch factor needs to be a thing, but that's kind of why Faker ended up on here. His wrists are fried. I really do think so. That's just my interpretation of his injury, having to take time off. Older player, comes back. Rumors are that he actually had to end scrims early at times during Worlds because his hands started bothering him, and I think that's just a reality of the esport. Now, he played an excellent Worlds, and we also saw how bad T1 were without him. And Faker is the MVP of Lol Esports right now, not only like because he won Worlds, but because we saw how good how bad the team was without him in the lineup. That's why Owner is not my top 5 anymore, because Faker is what makes Owner go. If we separated Owner and Faker, I don't know where Owner's going to be. He's very young in his career, still has potential, but there are some former T1 junglers that won Worlds, blank, that has been in Japan forever because he couldn't even stick it out in a major region. That's just me interpreting that without actually knowing facts on the matter. I guess that's just me kind of being maybe even hyperbolic about it. But the fact of the matter is, without Faker, Owner looked like crap. T1 looked like crap. Faker took over Worlds, was one of the best mids there, has been one of the best mids forever. He wasn't in my top 5 the last 3 times, and I think that was me not acknowledging just how good he is. So, with that in mind, I have him 3rd. 2nd, I have Scout. Scout, in my opinion, like Tarzan, was an LPL MVP finalist, both splits. I thought he was absolutely cracked. He and Tarzan made LNG go. Zika, obviously a good player. Gala a good player. But I thought that if Tarzan and Scout were not on, LNG were not getting it done. Scout at Worlds left a little bit on the table, but he's been good for a long time with EDG. This is not an aberration. He is this good this past year. So second for him. And then first is Chovy. I think I said this last time when I dropped him out of first. He needs to do something in an international event. He and Knight both needed to. And in the end, Chovy's trying to be better. He's changing his style and things like that, which is why he's still first. He's still trying to improve and get better after already being the best player in the world. In my opinion, at times over the last couple of years, he's been first, and then it's Carrier now. So, best player in mid. I don't care that he can't win at Worlds, but like I said, he does need to do something internationally for once. I don't think he's the reason Gen G lost. It's just... It is what it is. He's a very good player. Numbers check out. Eye test checks out. Chovy is excellent. He's first in the mid lane. Now, I'm just going to acknowledge something. I'm debating on at the end of this video, like editing it. And if you're listening to this part, then you'll know and have a heads up and didn't skip to the end. I'm going to start erasing some of these names. Maybe even edit it, do a little second clip where it's going to like give a fake top 5 in each one. Maybe just change one name to something outlandish, just to see how many people I can get in the comment section to bitch and moan and say that I don't know what I'm talking about just because they skipped to the end and didn't listen to the thought process behind the top 5. So just keep in mind that there might be some differences between what's up there now and what will be there at the end. Now, 80 carry. We have Guma, Wanfeng, Gala, Ruler, Viper. I'm self-admitted, was a big Wanfeng fan, still am. Last December, Viper, Ruler, Jackie Love, Wanfeng, Guma Yushi. So we got Guma twice, Wanfeng twice, and Ruler and Viper. And then in spring, Ruler, Viper, Elk pays light. So you see that Ruler and Viper have appeared on here every time. Safe to say that they're going to be there again. Now, 80 carries. So we're going to get rid of Berserker because Berserker doesn't have that killer mentality, nor does Upset. Exakick isn't going to be on here, but I do think Exakick is so freaking good. Karzi, very good. Hansama has a crazy champion pool. Shogun and Brantz, if you missed my video yesterday with the minor region prospect, Shogun and Brantz should be in major regions. They are that good, but in the end, without that competition, they're not up here. Now, working our way through what's on here. Deft is out. Deft is 100 years old. He's good, but he isn't great. Wanfeng is out because hell, he lost his job. He shouldn't have lost his job, but he lost it nonetheless. Hope is an inter, so he's off the list. Abel. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 10 80 carries. 10. And in my thought process here, I have three one-tricks that are heavily favoring a couple champions. I guess one trick, two trick, whatever the fuck. And then I have some really consistent players that I am not shy to say that I am a big fan of. So Gala, Fodic, Abel are out. And I've had a lot of arguments in the Discord between the Gala and Gumayushi stuff. That the differences aren't that big. And it's like, okay, well, I think I can see some of that. But at the same time, I do think Guma's better than Gala. Gala without Kesa, you take Guma's Caitlyn away, and I think that we're looking at a situation where Guma is still better. Fodic, Senna is the best in the world, but you can't be on the list just because you have good Senna. And then Abel has like a great Tristana and Samira that gets bans every time, but at the same time, that's all he's super, super good at. But Abel is talented. Now, what do I want to do next here? I'm taking Aiming and Guma out. Aiming, I'm super high on. I've say it all the time. I have Aiming as one of the most consistent 80 carries since 2020. I think that split in, split out, no matter where he's been one of the best stat-oriented, not stat, but analytically one of the best 80 carries in whatever region he's in. Both splits. So, super good. Guma did very well at Worlds. Knows not to die when his other players are carrying. So, good for you. Now, if Guma was in another region, in a different situation, that passive play without Carria, like, I don't have Guma with that killer mentality. So, taking him off the board. And I've had him on the board before. I had him as first in May of 22. So, now we got 6 players. One of them's got to go. It's funny because 5 of the 6 are still here. Man, is it going to be the same? I didn't want it to be. It wasn't intended. But I think I have to do it that way. I have to do it that way. It's going to be the same 5. Now, is it going to be the same order? I don't know yet. But it's got to be the same 5. It just has to be. So, actually, no. I know it's not going to be the same 5. So, Pays is 5th. He is going to be number 1 in the world in the next couple of years. What he's doing at his age, like, we'll see if the outside noise gets to him. That is what's going to hold him back, if anything. Pays has it all. Like, that kid is going to be, if everything goes right outside of the league, the best player in the world. So, Pays is 5th. That's just, it is what that is. Elk is 4th. Elk is super good, pumps out damage, has the killer mentality. So, Elk's 4th. I've been an Elk fan for a long time. Has he been in my top 5s? No. But that's because Ultra Prime was a tire fire. But prior to that, I thought that Elk was... always thought fondly of Elk. So, Elk being 4th is a thing. Light is 3rd. What Light and Crisp did against T1 in Worlds should not be, I don't know. I should not be valuing it as much, but I am valuing it a little. And I did think Light and Crisp were Weibo's best part throughout this year. So with that in mind, he's 3rd. And people are going to say, yeah, but T1 swept them 3-0. It's like, yeah, well, look at the 2v2 splits after laning phase. Weibo actually had a slight lead when you take in all 3 games and you do the math. I know math is hard for some people and they don't want to acknowledge it, but the fact is, slightly ahead in Weibo's favor. A negligible amount, but at the same time ahead, not blown out, which is what the 3-0 indicates to some. So, 3rd is a Light, and then 2nd is Viper. Viper is on HLE, and now he has Delight next to him, so... Viper has a really good chance of returning to first place if HLE live up to the hype. Because they have a really, really good team built around them. If Zeka can learn to play more than 3 champions. But bot lane wise, Viper and Delight's going to be disgusting. So Viper, great, super talented player, has been in my top 5, and hell, second, first, fifth, super good. Ruler, though, is first. Ruler is super good. Super, super, super good. So he's first. Does his job at a high level, and can be relied upon even at his older age. One of these days he's going to take a step back, but that wasn't this past Worlds, or this wasn't this past year. Support-wise, in May of 22, this was my top 5. Carrier, Lamau, Hilly, Core JJ, and Ming. So that's funny. After Worlds last year, it was Carrier, Barrel, Ming, Lahens, Missing. May, Carrier, Mako, Missing, Cal, Ming. So you're going to see Ming is appearing in all 3. Carrier appears in all 3. So you could assume that they're going to appear again. Now, actually, I shouldn't put this down. Now, let's go through these supports. So, Trimby is out. Barrel is out. Kellen is out. I think Barrel is still very good, but get your coin out, flip it, see what happens. Kellen, super good. People are giving him a ton of crap, but if you actually look at the entire season, look at the numbers. I know numbers scare a lot of people, but the eye test is whatever to people. Everyone over that. He was fine, played a bad series, gets benched, and never is the same again because he got benched. Who would have thought? That's a traditional sports thing that I can articulate that applies here. In terms of supports in LPL, we have PP God out, although I think PP God deserved to be on the list. On is out, but he deserved to be up here. Mickey is out, but Mickey is a top 10 support in the world. He deserved to be this far. Cal deserves to be up here at that point. Cal is excellent. People are going to be like, oh, but look at how he did alongside Teddy. Teddy's a good AD carry. Why didn't he do well? Well, I don't know. Maybe he went from Prince to Envy. Went from Ice and Envy to Prince to Envy again to Teddy in 4 splits. Think about that. And he's one of the youngest players in LL Esports. Definitely one of the youngest supports. He is super good and is just so underrated. It's just sickening. So now I have 7 players left. I am struggling because I don't want to punish Ming for not playing. I have to. So Ming is out of this, and he should. Ming is top 5 in the world, but he didn't play. That's not his fault, but I have to take him out of the top 5. I have to take him out of the top 5. Now, I'm going to take Lahens out of my top 5. Lahens is super freaking good too. Super good. Super, super good. Out of my top 5. Now, the top 5. So we got Crisp 5th. Like I said with Light, Crisp and Light stood their ground. Crisp was one of the best supports in the LPL this past year. Deserves a lot more credit than people give him. Former world champion, and then just continue to be very good. 4th is Mako. Now, Mako, similar to the Kale situation, but outside of like age and reputation, because Mako has earned the reputation he has on the international stage. Mako had like 4 different 80 carries this past year, and I thought he was the reason that Leave was doing so well. I thought Mako helped bring Leave along. A lot of people want to give Leave the credit. I'm giving Mako the credit. Mako was my LPL Spring MVP, I think, in regular season. So, fourth, super good player. Give him 4 different 80 carries, and he's not going to look as good. Who would have thought? A role where you need synergy, and you do that. That's what's going to happen. Delight is third. Delight really took a step forward this year after being stuck on Bro for many years. Not many years, I guess. A year. So now he's free, and because he's free, alongside Pays, he did excellent. Alongside Gen G, he was great. Now he plays for HLE, and Delight will continue to hopefully do well. Excellent player. Deserves praise. Second is Missing, because Missing, in the end, super good, but I won't lie, I think Carrier is the best player in the world. Now, I took Owner off here because he, to quote Gerb in the comment section, Carrier is a headless chicken without Faker, just like Owner. And it's like, yeah, he is. But I don't care. He can play literally any champion he wants in the entire book of champions. Now, that is why he's first. Not to mention he's just a really good support alongside Guma. And then, compared to Missing, Missing is super good too. He showed alongside Hope, which is why Missing was in my top 5 last year after Worlds, that he was the reason JDG did so well in 2022. Now, in the end, Missing bowed to Carrier. And by that, I mean he tried to play Carrier's game. Missing stopped playing his own game, tried to play Carrier's game. 80 carry supports, things like this. Missing had to invest a lot of time into doing that. Now, were his 80 carry supports bad? No, I would say they weren't. But the fact that he had to do that, and Carrier set the meta at Worlds, and has set the meta in the past, that it is what it is. You have to keep up with him. Carrier is who sets the meta at the support role. If there's going to be an outside-of-the-box pick, it's going to be Carrier. Used to be Barrel, but Barrel this year did try and do some of that, and then into this face-off. But Carrier doing it a little better right now. So Carrier's first in the support role. But, you know, so just give me 1 second here. I'm not even going to edit this shit out. I'm just going to do something. Let's take this guy out. Let's take this player out. This player, and this player. So taking a few players out of here. And let's do a little something. Let's keep doing this. Let's see, what other players can I put on here? Oh, I know what I'll do. And then let's put, actually, let's do this. Okay, let's, all right. So, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter. And thank you for watching.